At 75, Suzi Quatro finally speaks up about Chris Norman. Suzi Quatro was born Susan K. Quatro on June 3, 1950, in Detroit, Michigan. From the earliest stages of her life, she showed a remarkable natural talent for music. And this gift would eventually transform her into a household name across the world. Unlike many female performers of her era, Suzi didn't simply become a singer fronting a band. She broke barriers by carving out her place as a bass-playing, leather-clad rock icon in an industry dominated by men. She became a pioneer both musically and culturally, and her legacy continues to inspire new generations of musicians. Raised in a musically inclined family, Suzi was surrounded by rhythm, harmony, and creative expression from the beginning. Her father, Art Quatro, was a musician, and music was constantly present in her household. This atmosphere of artistic encouragement gave her the confidence to explore her own voice and her own place in the world of sound. By the time she was a teenager, she was already immersed in forming an all-girl garage rock band with her sisters called the Pleasure Seekers. This group was groundbreaking in itself, as it was one of the first all-female rock bands to gain attention at a time when women were almost never given the opportunity to participate as instrumentalists. Suzi played bass, sang, and exuded charisma even at this young stage, planting the seeds of the unique style that would soon set her apart on an international stage. Her life and career took a dramatic turn in the early 1970s when she was discovered by the legendary British record producer Mickey M.O., who saw in Suzi a spark of originality that he believed could translate into stardom. She relocated to the United Kingdom, a bold move that would prove to be the defining choice of her career. While many American audiences were still hesitant to embrace women in hard rock, the UK welcomed her with open arms. In 1973, Suzi burst into the public consciousness with her smash hit single, "Can a Driving Rock Anthem," that went straight to #1 on the UK charts and sold over 2 million copies worldwide. The song was a bold declaration that Suzi was here to stay, and it cemented her reputation as a fearless rocker who wasn't afraid to take control of the stage. Throughout the 1970s, Suzi Quatro established herself as one of the dominant female figures in rock music. Songs such as 48 Crash, Devilgate Drive, and The Wild One all became major international hits and displayed her signature combination of powerful vocals, punchy bass lines, and rebellious attitude. On stage, clad in her trademark leather jumpsuit, she projected an image of strength, confidence, and independence that challenged stereotypes of women in music. She wasn't content to be a background figure or a novelty act. Suzi demanded respect as a serious musician, and she earned it. Her presence opened doors for countless women who would follow her in the rock and punk scenes, making her a true pioneer. In addition to her music career, Suzi also demonstrated her versatility as a performer by branching out into acting. She became familiar to American television audiences in the mid-1970s when she appeared as Leather Tuscadero on the hit sitcom Happy Days. This role gave her broader recognition in the U.S. and allowed her to display her charisma in a new medium while still staying true to her rock and roll identity. Her crossover success proved that she was more than just a singer. She was an entertainer with multi-dimensional talents. Her contributions to music have not only been about chart success, but about influence. Suzi Quatro has been credited as a direct inspiration for later female rockers, such as Joan Jett, Chrissie Hynde, Debbie Harry, and the Runaways. These artists have openly acknowledged that Suzi's courage and style gave them the permission and confidence to pursue their own careers in genres that were traditionally male-dominated. In this sense, Suzi's legacy is not just about the records she sold, but about the cultural doors she opened for others. She became a role model without even realizing it. And in doing so, she reshaped the sound and the look of rock music for generations. Even as the decades have passed, Suzi Quatro has never slowed down. She has continued to tour, record, and perform well into the 21st century, proving that her passion for music is as strong as ever. Albums like Back to the Drive 2006 and No Control 2019 showed that she could still produce dynamic, energetic music that resonated with her fans. Her stage presence remains electric, and her voice continues to carry the same power and edge that first captivated audiences in the 1970s. In the later chapters of her extraordinary career, Suzi Quatro proved once again that her passion for music and her ability to connect with audiences remain as strong as ever. Rather than slowing down, she embraced a new platform to share her love of rock and roll with listeners across the United Kingdom and beyond. Taking to the airwaves on BBC Radio 2, Quatro brought her trademark charisma, encyclopedic knowledge of rock history, and personal stories from decades in the industry to a whole new audience. Her first radio venture, a lively program titled Rocking with Suzi Q, was more than just a show. It was a celebration of the music that shaped generations. Listeners tuned in not only to hear the classic tracks she chose, but also to experience them through her eyes, enriched by her behind-the-scenes anecdotes and genuine enthusiasm. Building on that success, she later launched a second program called Wake Up Little Suzi, which carried the same sense of energy and authenticity while offering a fresh spin on her love for the genre. These programs quickly became favorites among fans who delighted in hearing Quatro's voice, not just as a singer, but as a storyteller, guide, and champion of the music that continues to inspire her. By stepping into radio broadcasting, she showed once more that her talent goes far beyond the stage, proving that Suzi Quatro is not just a rock star, but also a cultural icon with a timeless ability to entertain, educate, and excite. In 1976, at the height of her career as a pioneering female rock musician, Suzi Quatro made a major personal commitment when she married her longtime guitarist and musical collaborator, Len Tucky. Their marriage was not only a union of hearts, but also a continuation of the professional partnership they had forged on stage. Tucky, a talented guitarist, had been part of Quatro's touring band, and the two shared not just a passion for music, but also an understanding of the unique pressures and demands of life in the rock industry. Together, they built a family, welcoming 2 children during the course of their marriage. Balancing motherhood with a demanding international career was no easy task. But Quatro, known for her strength and determination, managed to find ways to nurture both her family and her music. Despite their deep connection, however, the marriage faced challenges over the years. By 1992, after 16 years together, Quatro and Tucky divorced, marking the end of a significant chapter in her personal life. During their years as a family, Quatro and Tucky had made a considerable investment in their future together when they purchased a stately manor house in 1980. Located not far from Chelmsford in Essex, England, the manor represented both stability and success. The couple raised their children there, providing a sense of home away from the constant travel and public attention that came with Quatro's career. After the divorce, Quatro continued to live in the manor with her 2 children, holding on to the house as a place of continuity for her family. It became a sanctuary where she could balance her private responsibilities as a mother with her public role as an international performer. In 1993, not long after her divorce, Suzi Quatro remarried, this time to German concert promoter Rainer. Hos's work within the music industry meant he understood the demands of Quatro's career, and their marriage offered her both companionship and professional support. By this time, Quatro was an established icon in rock music, admired around the world for breaking barriers for female musicians, and having a partner rooted in the business likely provided her with a stabilizing influence. Family continued to play an important role in Quatro's life. In 2006, her daughter and grandchild returned to live in the Essex Manor House, restoring the family atmosphere that Quatro cherished. The house once again echoed with the sounds of children, laughter, and day-to-day family life, softening the solitude that comes when children grow up and begin their own independent lives. However, as time passed, her children eventually moved out again. By the end of 2008, Quatro admitted to experiencing what many parents do when their children leave home, empty nest syndrome. To cope with the transition, she temporarily put the Essex Manor up for sale, reflecting both her desire for change and the emotional difficulty of maintaining such a large family home when it no longer served the same purpose. Despite these shifts, Quatro has remained deeply connected to the places that shaped her life. She continues to divide her time between Essex and Hamburg, maintaining ties both to her life in England and to her husband's native Germany. Hamburg, with its strong musical heritage, also provides her with a vibrant cultural base. At the same time, Quatro has never lost her attachment to her roots in the United States, particularly her hometown of Detroit, Michigan, where her musical journey first began. By maintaining residences in Essex, Hamburg, and occasionally spending time in Detroit, she reflects the truly international nature of her life and career, embodying the spirit of a woman whose music and personal experiences span continents and generations. At 75 years old, Suzi Quatro has lived through 5 decades in the spotlight, carving out a place in music history as one of the first women to truly break into the male-dominated world of rock and roll. She's known for her leather jumpsuits, her thunderous bass lines, and her unrelenting spirit on stage. But one chapter of her career has always carried a special glow: her collaboration with Chris Norman of the band Smokie. For years, fans have speculated about the bond the two shared during and after the release of their 1978 worldwide hit duet, Stumbling In. Now, with the perspective of age and the wisdom that comes from a long career, Quatro has finally opened up in more detail about what Chris Norman really meant to her, both personally and professionally. Chris was, without question, one of the easiest people I ever worked with. Suzi explained there was no ego with him in this business. That's rare, especially when two people are thrown together for a duet that neither of them expected to become such a phenomenon. From the very first moment we started singing, there was a natural chemistry. It was almost effortless. Back in the late 1970s, Quatro was already well established as a solo star. Norma, meanwhile, was riding high with Smokie, who were known for their distinctive blend of soft rock and folk-inspired pop. When producer Mike Chapman paired the two of them together for Stumbling In, the result was a surprise even to Quatro herself. "We both thought it would just be another song, maybe a minor hit if we were lucky," she admitted. "Neither of us expected it to go to number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 in America and become a standard that people are still singing 45 years later. That's the magic of music. You never really know what's going to touch people." For Quatro, the experience was not only about commercial success, but also about the connection with Norman as a fellow artist. She describes their time together in the studio as filled with laughter, respect, and a sense of shared adventure. "Chris had this warmth about him," she said. "He wasn't just a great singer. He was a gentleman. He put me at ease immediately. I was used to being in control of my own music, but with Chris, it felt natural to share the spotlight. We weren't competing. We were creating something together, and that's why it worked." Fans, of course, have long speculated about whether there was more than just artistic chemistry between Quatro and Norman. Suzi has never denied the deep bond, but she also insists that it was a professional and platonic connection built on mutual admiration. "People love to imagine romances behind the scenes." She laughed. "The truth is we adored each other, but it was about the music. We were both married at the time, and we respected that. What we had was a friendship and a musical partnership that created something timeless. And honestly, that's even more special in some ways." Looking back now, Suzi sees Stumbling In stone, but also as a reminder of how one song can shape the way the world remembers you. "I will always be the leather-clad rocker with the bass guitar," she reflected. "But for millions of people, I'll also always be the voice on that duet with Chris. And I don't mind that. I'm proud of it. It showed another side of me. Softer, more vulnerable, but still strong." Even today, decades later, Quatro and Norman remain friends, occasionally reconnecting for interviews and anniversary celebrations of their hit. "Chris is one of those people you don't forget," she said fondly. "When we see each other now, it's like no time has passed. We slip right back into that easy camaraderie we had in the studio all those years ago. That's rare, and it's something I treasure." As she reflects on her journey, Quatro believes the duet carries an enduring message that resonates even more strongly now than it did in 1978. It's about love that's uncertain, about finding your way through something new and exciting, she explained. Everyone, no matter how old they are, can relate to stumbling into love or stumbling into something unexpected, that changes your life. That's why the song lasts. At 75, Suzi Quatro continues to tour, record, and inspire new generations of musicians. But when asked to name one of the highlights of her career, she doesn't hesitate to place her collaboration with Chris Norman near the top. That song was a gift, she concluded, and Chris was part of that gift. I'll always be grateful for him for the music we made together and for the memories that have lasted a lifetime.